What's up, everyone? James and Alma here. We are introducing a massive thing it's something that we have been working on behind the scenes. In fact, I've been working on it for years now with a lot of my clients, my private clients, and now we are bringing it to everybody else. We're pulling the curtains, as they say, and bringing it mainstream, I would say. In the past, it's always been kind of behind closed doors.
Invite only, referral only.
Yeah. And just recently, I was having a conversation with my coach, Mandy Keene specifically. She's an amazing coach. If you ever are looking for a coach, please reach out to Mandy. She is the bomb. And we were talking about certain things that we're really good at, and I'm really good at relationships. I love relationships. I love talking to people about their relationships, what are their team relationships, intimate relationship with their children, whatever it is. I love relationships, but where I really kind of roll up my sleeves and go really deep into is when a client tells me I'm having marriage troubles. Like, oh no, you're not on my watch, not anymore. And this is something that I've decided to open up to everyone else. For years now, I've only worked with a core group of clients who ended up and I ended up growing it through referrals and their spouses and their friends and children, if they're grown, and in a marriage. And now we're bringing it to everyone else. So why are we here today, James? We are here today to talk about the 4 skills of a successful relationship. Now, this is something that you can transfer into your relationship with your children or your team, but more specifically right now, we're talking about intimate relationship because the two of us are very good at that one.
Doing it for a long time.
Been doing it for a long time.
Relationship, yeah.
Next month, it's going to be 19 years of marriage.
Of marriage, yeah.
Yes, which makes it 24 years of being together.
Boom.
Which is quite a bit of time. So you got anything else to say about that?
No.
Before we dive in?
You are the star of the show. I am.
All right. I'm going to start now.
Tell all.
Yes. And, also as you all know, James started Linchpin Funnels, and then I was brought into that arena, which I was still running my business. So this isn't a change for us. We're just opening it up a little bit, expanding it a little bit more by demand. So our Linchpin Funnels podcast have done the best. We've gotten the best feedback when we opened up about our relationship. So that's when people would run into us in Las Vegas and they would say, oh my gosh, love that transparency, love that honesty, so refreshing, and so forth. So we were going to go a little bit deeper into that going forward, but it does not interfere with Linchpin Funnels.
Keep on rolling.
At all. Okay. So now I wanted to start off strong this first episode to be all about skills of a successful marriage, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There are a lot of myths. And when people talk about skills, they always talk about have empathy towards your person or learn to communicate and all this. And all of this is bullcrap, because when you're behaving like a little jerk.
That's how you do bullcrap in sign language.
When you're being a jerk, I can't have empathy towards you, right?
No.
So that empathy does not play a role when you're not on the same level. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. So if you, my friend, are married, and if you have been married for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever that is for you, and you look at your person and you're like, man, I feel like I'm living with a stranger. I don't even know how to talk to you. I want you to know that there's good news and bad news. Of course, we all want to start with the bad news first and finish off strong with the good news. And the bad news is that you are there just like I was there, and have been there before, Lucy's not happy about that because you're not working on it. Because we know whatever muscle you are working is the muscle that gets stronger, which is the muscle that moves the needle forward, that moves the needle. So all it is just something that you have not been focusing on. What that means is, if in your marriage, if you're married and you feel like you're living with a stranger, you don't know how to communicate to each other, it just means that you have prioritized your business, your kid or kids, or something, who knows what else, right? And the most intimate relationship of your life has taken the back seat. What's tragic about that is that we often, myself included, do prioritize our children, and we pour everything we got into that child and ignore the most important relationship in our life. Because I know now, I didn't know this before, but I know now that Ella is going to most likely marry a replica of her father. So in our full transparency, she is going to go to sleep crying. She is going to be unhappy. She is going to feel neglected, abandoned, hurt, like she doesn't matter. That is inevitable, right? That is inevitable. No matter how much I pour into her, that is going to happen if I don't heal this. Because when he and I heal what we have, she, almost without choice, she will marry somebody like him. And if I like the guy that she's going to marry, then I'm going to be happy, right? I'm going to sleep well at night because I won't have any control over how she is in her own marriage. But what I can do today is make sure that this one is good, so that I can ensure that she has a great marriage when she grows up. And so that's why we are talking about this right now. Important stuff, right?
And crucially important stuff, yeah. And one of the things that you'll get from this show, this will be a regular show that we do, is vulnerability, truth, honesty. We'll go through it all because, you know, our marriage has been really challenging for a long portion of the time for both of us, and it's because of the patterns that we've had from childhood and how we projected them onto each other and how we reenacted things that were unhealthy, and it's created a whole lot of drama and trauma. And you know, we've really gotten the hang of it in the past few years to a really powerful degree. And we've instituted a lot of patterns and practices, and so that's the kind of stuff we'll be talking about, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and this isn't to be a downer of a series. It is really to help you shine some light on things that are hurting the most in your marriage. So if any of this bothers you, I would love to invite you to just see, hey, why is that? Right? What is this? Even if you want to say, oh, James and Alma, you guys are full of shit, yeah, that's fine. And you can say that.
Let us know.
And dig a little bit deeper. Why do you think that we are full of shit, right? So that's an invitation. Colorful language is welcome. If it bothers you, either tune it out, or you don't have to participate in this show either. So we are very colorful, but respectful at the same time. So
absolutely.
Yes. So skills. Again, I told you what skills are garbage. Don't try to strengthen.
What was it? Empathy
and communication.
Communication, right? Because there's like communication like coaches, right? And
exactly.
Like empathy, like just sprinkle some empathy on top. Gary B, empathy.
And empathy is great, and we're gonna actually.
Communication is great.
Like, all of it is great, but none of it happens until the first 3 skills are done. Okay, and what is a skill? The actual skill is something that you repeat, right? It's a strengthening of something. So anybody can do something once or twice or 3 times, but in order for it to become a skill, in order for you to get skilled at it, you have to repeat it, right? So I invite you to think about, okay, all of the things that we're going to share with you guys. When you go into this, when you bring this video to your person, set a time of the week, of the month, of the year, whatever that is for you, and revisit these questions. So the first skill is courage to ask where we are.
Mm,
Where is our marriage now? Where's our relationship?
that can be a very courageous act, just asking that.
Yes. Again, skill, right? Repeatedly asking, that this skill, this where are we? Where are we now? Hey, where am I? Where are you? Where is this marriage, right? Do I trust you? Do I like being around you? Do I look at you and think of you as, oh gosh, you disgust me? Or do I think, hey, sexy beast, come over here, right? What is happening here? What do I believe you are doing? Am I 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Do I think that you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Where are we? And it takes massive courage to ask a question like that.
Why?
Because you may not like the answer.
Right. Yeah. You are afraid of the answer, maybe, but the truth shall set you free, right?
Yeah. And what happens there, if you don't have the courage to ask that question, you are overcompensating in some other areas. You are cleaning the house a lot more. You are pouring into your children a lot more. You are earning more money. You are doing other things to overcompensate for that, because you're like, see, I'm doing this. I'm at least doing this.
Don't you see all I do for you?
Yeah. And you can't live without me because I'm the one bringing all the money, or you can't live without me because the house is going to be a mess. You're going to live like a pig in a sty, right? We overcompensate for that because we don't have the courage to say, hey, do you even like me? Or to ask ourselves that, hey, do I like you? Do I like being around you? Did I make a mistake when I said I do? Did I make a mistake for staying? The one time when I should have left, right? So these are the question, hey, where are we now? Most relationship coaches will say, what do you want? Well, saying what do you want may work when you're growing a business, or when you have financial goals, or when you're trying to run a triathlon or something. What do you want is a fabulous question. But when you're in a marriage, that is not the first question we ask, because when you're in a marriage, if somebody asked me 10 years ago, what do you want? I'd be like, well, I can want all I want, but not with him. He doesn't want it, right? What do you want does not work in a marriage as a first question. So the first question is, where are we?
Where are we?
Where are we?
Yeah. I like that. Because, when you're on a map, we have a map, it's useless. Even knowing what the destination is useless until you know where you are.
Exactly. So where are we now? So I want to invite you to make that a skill, right? Where are we now? Hey, every week, where are we? Where are you? What's your head like? What's your heart like? What's happening, right? And what about me? And what about this beautiful thing that we have built? Because there's a reason we stayed together, right? In our case, there's a reason we stayed together for 19 years. So we're in 24 years, when we had plenty of opportunities to be on our way out, and we didn't. We chose to stay together and build this thing into what it is today. So that first skill set, everything else is icing on the cake if you have that ability to the courage to ask where you are.
Agree.
Anything on that one?
I mean, not really. I've kind of interjected where appropriate. I think that maybe we can talk about what the answer pattern is here. Like, what happens if I guess you already did. It's like you're compensating. You're fearful of what the answer is going to be. Like, if I'm terrified that you're going to leave me, I'm not going to ask where we are if I'm, being courageous, because I don't want that confirmation, whereas.
So what do you do? What do you do then?
Exactly. Compensate. I'll get involved with more work, or like do stuff that I think is going to make you happy. I'll like do dishes or some shit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Something. And really that's like going back into like a small child mode. Like when mom was mad, this is what I did in order to get in her good graces. So I'll just fall into those well-worn grooves and well-worn patterns instead of actually addressing it head on when I'm not being conscious and courageous, right? Which is what I did for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. Yeah. So that first skill, it is a skill, y'all. It is a skill. It's something that you can repeat on a regular basis. Now there's the shadow side to that, the dark side of that, where you can just be like, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing? Right? Then where you are is insecure, right? But you got to be honest with yourself. Hey, where am I now? What am I doing? But
are you mad at me?
Are you mad? Exactly. Yeah. Yes. But so that once you have the courage to do it, and you're there, right? It's like, oh, I said it, I asked, I'm receiving the answers. Now the second skill is to be able to hold that truth, to hold the answer, to hold the response. Because now when you hear the answer that you may not like, whether it's coming from you or your person, it is very common to run away. Running is a game that I had mastered in the past, right? It's just, run the opposite direction, ignore it, right? Do something else, distract, I don't know, be cute, be sweet, be something, just run away from that present moment. And are you able to hold that answer without running, without fighting, without fawning, right? Without being that little busy bee, right? Without freezing.
Any 4F response, yeah, including fight.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I don't know if you said that.
I think I said
okay,
that.
Yeah. But that's like a what? It's like
yeah.
Nervous system.
Don't you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Right? That's fighting.
Defense. No, we're not. I don't do that. Like that's definitely me. Defensive. It's my competitive. It's my strength of competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is really awesome when we send you out there into the world to make money.
Yeah.
But when you're fighting me, it's not so awesome.
Never
right?
good. No.
Yeah. And I love when Jordan Peterson said, you never want to win against your spouse, because one of you is going to be a loser. If you win against your spouse, then you're with a loser. Nobody wants to be with a loser. You're not proud of a loser. You don't respect a loser, right? So, and you certainly don't want your spouse to win against you, because then you yourself are a loser. So winning or having a war against your spouse, you always lose. Whether you lose or your spouse loses, you always ultimately lose, right?
Ain't nobody winning.
Nobody wins when you're fighting inside a marriage. And a house divided always collapses. So fighting with your spouse, if you do it, look at the rest of the quality of your life. If you have a lot of money, that means you've ignored and ran away, and if you have a lot of debt, that also means you got distracted and did something else.
If you're really overweight.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So that always means that there's a house divided, right? So being able to holding that reality without running, without throwing a tantrum, aka fighting, right? Without freezing, distracting, fawning, like you said, cleaning, doing something, like as Tony Robbins calls it, mastering in minor things, right?
Majoring
in minor things. So there's that, right? And consistently, repeatedly, hey, where are we? And then being willing to hold that truth, to hold the reality of the answer, right? And also knowing, hey, is my person really, do they mean this, or are they just caught up in some sort of flashback or some sort of trauma responses, as they say, right? So also being willing to participate in this, right? In the knowing if the answer is an honest answer, or if this is just some sort of a childlike behavior.
I think what you just said is really important, because for so much of our marriage, we have not held the response. We have not been present with him. We haven't been empathetic, curious. It's been such a defensive response for most part. And I think that whole flashback thing is worth mentioning. It's really just like when you get triggered. This is really popular in the what is it? Complex PTSD world. This whole emotional flashback thing, where it's just like you're reverting to a really smaller version of yourself, and you're not in control anymore. Someone else is in control. And when that's true, there's no space for empathy. There's no space for peace or anything. So one of the things that we implemented a couple of years ago is, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, if not today in subsequent videos, like we have this sort of like pledge, this sort of like line by like all the things that we wanted to do to level up our marriage. We add a line to this pledge. And one of them is like, if respect is not available, we respectfully walk away after agreeing upon the time to come back. That diffuses the tension that right there in the moment. It's like, okay, I can feel like I'm about to be an asshole here, or you are being an asshole. So like, let's just quick time out. But the key is to say like, and we're going to reconvene in 15 minutes, right? That way one person or the other doesn't feel abandoned. Which
that's a big one.
That can totally trigger an abandonment trauma response. So it's a really, I think now's the time to mention that, because you may not be able to hold the response,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to talk more about that?
No, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So now, once you have that, right, then you can say, hey, now the third one is, why are we here? Right? How did we get here? In practicing that, how did we end up in this space? Because when we know that, based on our past, our parents who raised us in their circumstances and what they did and how they did it and all this, and what we modeled and who they modeled, and the environment and the community and all of that, all the external forces that had built the people that we are today, then we have a much better understanding of what we're dealing with, right? Then we can say, you know what? I see, right? I see. Once we figure out, hey, why did we end up here? Even the things that you did or said that hurt me or hurt our marriage, that was just a product of all the external forces that have led to you being the way that you ended up, right? And that's not an excuse, but that's just understanding that, seeing things for what they are, seeing them as they are. It's like, oh, I see why we're here, right? Because we ended up where we ended up as a result of all the past mistakes and decisions and wins of our own and other people. So just really understanding why we are here, or how we got here.
And one really important lens to me to look at this through is, what were my early childhood experiences like? The psychological concept of reenactment is like it's the thing, the mechanism that perpetuates cycles of, I guess, good and bad, but definitely bad, where if you didn't get the kind of attention that you wanted as a kid, you will seek someone out who will not give you the kind of attention that you want, right? Like we kind of find the person that's just like our caregiver in certain ways, because it's familiar to us. It's like better the devil you know than the one you don't. So that is a huge thing. I always find it useful, and whenever we get into it, to be like, it's never to like totally point the finger at something that's outside of our control, but it's important to anchor the context in like, hey, this is like what we grew up in. I don't know if any of you have seen the series Dexter, but the concept is he was born in blood. Like he was like literally watched his parents get murdered. So he became this like serial killer guy. These early childhood experiences, specifically the traumatic ones, and trauma, let's just talk about that. Trauma is basically, it's not even the things that happen to you. It's did you have a empathetic adult to kind of help you navigate it after the fact? So someone can go through the same event. Two identical twins can go through the same event. One has trauma, one doesn't, because of how they were related to you afterwards. Yeah. That's Gabor Mate. And it's important to recognize that and to help with the empathy. I don't know if we're going to get to that as the next step or whatever, but like the empathy is important because, Alma went through an actual war, actually, like refugee, like not just, some people complain about words or violence. No, freaking violence is violence, murder is violence, not words. And there's just certain things that like, I've never had to go through and will never understand. And I can only just freaking be like, wow, and empathize with something like that, So it's really important to not look at the relationship in a vacuum or out of context from the early childhood experiences, because I've definitely found for me, and I know it's true for you too, those imprint us so much, and we reenact so many behaviors, and we find comfort, and we got attention through behaviors that were not useful to us now as adults, but we kind of don't know that, and our kids are running the show, and they will do things that are not helpful to ourselves or the other in relationship. But until we sort of like see the context, like what was the spark, what was the genesis, what was the catalyst, there's kind of no hope of really getting a grasp of it. That's exactly the understanding part.
Exactly. And that's why, that when we find out why we're here, then we would have to be total jerks to not have empathy, right? If I tell you, this is why I'm here, this is what I'm made of, right? And this is what I'm made of. These are the people I'm made of. This is the environment I'm made of. These are the circumstances. And then being made up of all of that, I created my own in that soil, right? I created the tree that is me in that soil. So this is why I have brought what I brought into this relationship. And you say, you know what, this is what I'm made of. This is my soil. These are my people, my environment, my circumstances, which have led me to make my own decisions. And then it would be wild. Someone you said yes to someone you said yes to share DNA with, to create, to bear children with, to build a life with, to say, yeah, it's stupid.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you, right? I mean, it's crazy. But so this leads us to that fourth step is empathy.
Oh, cool.
Because then if you don't have empathy towards your person, then you really do want to go back to skill number one. Like, so where am I? Am I out or am I in? Right? Where am I? And when you have everything, when you know where your person is, when you are able to sit through the difficult conversations, and you then understand why you are here, and then you create empathy, you say, man, I'm so sorry you went through that. I am so sorry. You were a victim of that. Yeah. You were, back then, you were a victim of that. And if I was the adult in your life at the time, I would have never let that happen to you. So now, when you receive that level of empathy, and again, remember, this is a skill. So this has to happen on repeat. It isn't like, well, I told you that 3 years ago. No, I
empathied that one time.
Exactly. This is a skill. That's why we call it a skill, not a step. Yeah. Right? It's not a step of no return. It's a skill. So now we have that empathy. Your need my need, this was my absolute need for perpetual victimhood, for perpetual like, oh, look at me. Like I used to have a card for everything. You want it? It's like anything that could have happened to a human. I'm like, I got that one. Right? So I had that need for victimhood. But when I have an empathetic adult with me who says, man, what happened to you is not right. That is so wrong. No human deserves to go through that. And had I been there for you during that time, I would have never let that happen to you. It melts away. The need just goes away because now you have finally found that empathetic adult who can help you process through that. And that, when you have that whole process, I'm going to use the terms that Tony Robbins uses, in the, Maslow's obviously has his own version, but I know Tony is on repeat. But we have 6 basic human needs, and there's certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. And when I have these 4 steps, they meet all 6 needs. And when something or someone meets all of your needs, at least 3 of your needs, you become almost like codependent on it, right? It's like, man, why would I go anywhere else? Right? And codependent in a good way. Right? It's like, why would I go anywhere else? Why would I be unhappy? You give me the certainty that I need because you're here with me. You give me uncertainty because, marriage is wild. It's a wild roller coaster ride. You give me significance because you're sitting right here with me, seeing all the naked parts of me, and you're choosing to stay here. You give me the connection through empathy. We're growing together because we're both all in on strengthening this skill set. And I get to contribute to you just like you're contributing to me. And that's it. That is what I call a successful relationship, when all of your needs are being met by these 4 skills.
I don't have anything else to add. What I'd like for you to do, though, is talk a little bit about, you can anonymize the names, but with your one of your clients, they really started to empathize the little versions of each other. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing. They both grew up in inner city.
These are wildly successful, multi-million-dollar
successful people. Yeah. Both grew up in an environment that wasn't very promising. That rather, if you grow up in that environment, chances of you getting out of it and not becoming just like everybody else are not very high. And even though they stepped out and they were successful individually and they created these beautiful children, literally rocket scientists, doctor, and they had these beautiful homes, but they just didn't know how to be with each other. So now that when the children are moved out, all of their needs are met, their financial needs, their shelter, all the things that Maslow talks about, the hierarchy of needs, everything is met. And they're finally at the self-actualization level. They're like, oh, we don't know how to be with each other. As soon as he opens his mouth, I'm going to punch him in it. And these are people in their 60s. They would scream at each other. They would like run away from each other, close the door. The other one is banging on their, flipping them off. And it's just like wild stuff. And how do we end up in that space? Because we haven't healed that. We haven't gone through these 4 steps that I talked about. And that's not just them, that's every other person I've ever had the privilege, just different flavor, but the same thing. Just so we all go through it. Nobody teaches us how to go through this. Up until not too long ago, therapy was considered crazy talk. I'm from Bosnia, you don't need a therapist. Like, you're depressed, well, we're all depressed, so what, deal with it, kind of thing. And you don't know what it's like to be depressed. It's like, I had 17 children and had no food. Well, try 19 children and had no food. Like, there's always this competition of who suffered more. So we're not really taught how to do these things with each other. And unfortunately, there are very few of us who know how to do this, and the rest of us who haven't been taught, unfortunately, we do have to learn that later in life. We were in our 40s when we learned how to do this. So some of us have to do it a little bit later in life. And guess what? One more thing on that: if you have children, and this is really for people with children, or if you're planning to have children, your children always want to have the most wonderful relationship with you. So they want to learn from you, even if they've moved out, even if they're on their own, and you think that you don't have any influence over them, you do. Because what happens is that if they're still little and at home, amazing, right? Because now they can actually learn to be in a safe environment again, because they're smart. They know when something's off. And if they have moved out, and once they start to deal with their own marriage challenges, they're going to say, you know what, mom and dad have figured it out. Look where they were and look where they ended up. Let's go talk to them about it. So either way, your children are going to be grateful, regardless of where they are.
Word.
Yeah. So you had.
Yeah, it was just like the very specific thing that I was wanting you to touch on was the fact that for your clients that were this one set of clients, when the "Why Are We Here" step was being performed, they referred to each other as little first name and little
Nancy,
first,
let's say.
yeah, little Nancy. And so the ability to empathize with the child, that the victimized child, because you love the shit out of your person, right? You'll murder for them, but in that moment, you're not like wanting them to win anything. So if you can take the heat out of the moment, if you can think about the victimized child and how it was unfair, it diffuses, de-escalates, and just creates a sense of empathy. It's like a possibility, and then it's like you can also connect the dots, and then it's like, okay, this really isn't about me anyway. It's about your shit. Well, I can help you. I want to help you. I don't want to defend against you. I want to help you, So it really just enables so much, and this is crucial. So I'm grateful that we have figured a lot of this stuff out. Not that we don't fall victim to this same sort of patterning. We just get out a bajillion times faster. But I'm really happy that you are answering the call to help those who do want to have a working relationship, a beautiful, unquestioning relationship, and are just murdering each other emotionally and don't know how to stop it. This is how you stop it.
Yeah. All right, so we want to know from you. Share in the comments or send a DM if you don't feel comfortable sharing this in the comments. Now,
by the way, you had more live people watching than I did, so your audience is resonating with this.
Oh, great.
There you go.
So share with us if any of this resonated with you, if any of this hit home in some way. And if you have any questions, send me a DM. I'll share what we know about this, right? We are experts in this, I would say, because we've had over 20 years of experience in this, and we have figured out. Now, this is not to say that conflicts don't arise, but now, at least with us, conflicts no longer mean it's the death of us. They just mean, oh, this is one of those things that's calling us to get into this cycle of these steps.
I'd say I'm not an expert. I'm an expert layperson. You are an actual expert. You have actually gone through training, and you have applied these skills, and you have created dramatic shifts in people's relationships for a long time. So
yes,
you're the expert boss.
Okay. All right. Have a great day, everyone. We're going to keep doing this.